Welcome, everyone. Today we're diving deep into Autobiography of a Yogi. It's by Paramhansa Yogananda. You all sent this book in wanting to understand its key messages and why it's resonated with so many over the years.
It's really fascinating.
Yeah, and we'll explore Yogananda's stories. The ones about saints and yogis, and the science behind Kriya Yoga, his insights on spirituality, and how he bridges the gap between Eastern and Western thought.
What really grabbed you about this book is how it's all woven together. It's like Yogananda's personal journey, the spiritual teachings, even like scientific observations. It's not your typical yoga manual.
Oh, definitely not.
It's an adventure filled with miracles.
Right.
And these incredible encounters with like really extraordinary people.
Yeah, it's wild. Right from the start, he's hinting at like past lives, And even as a kid, there's this like yearning for something divine. It's like already there. And the way he talks about his family, especially his mother, it paints such a vivid picture of Indian family life and how like spirituality was just woven right into it.
Right. And it wasn't just like a vague sense of spirituality, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
His mother actively taught him valuable lessons, like the one with that 10 rupee note. She's encouraging generosity, even when like his father is hesitant at first.
That one really got me too. You see how much compassion was just like a core part of their family. What about like his father's role? At first, it seemed like worldly success was more his thing.
It's so interesting how his father changes throughout the book. Initially he's skeptical, but then boom, Lahiri Mahasaya, Yogananda's guru, he materializes right in front of them. That's got to change your perspective.
Oh, talk about a convincing argument for the reality of the spiritual world.
Yeah.
And that's just the tip of the iceberg. Like, Yogananda sets out to find his own guru, Sri Yukteswar. And man, on that journey, he meets some seriously remarkable characters.
His encounters with like the perfume saint, the tiger swami, and that levitating saint, it really shows you how diverse spiritual power can be. The perfume saint, he's like manipulating fragrance.
With his will.
Right?
Hey.
The tiger swami, he's fearless.
Yeah.
And compassionate, even with dangerous animals.
Oh, yeah.
And the levitating saint, defying gravity.
It makes you wonder what's possible, like what we've got inside us just waiting to be unlocked. And it's not just saints and yogis. He meets Jagadish Chandra Bose, like a scientist way ahead of his time.
Right, Bose's work with plant life. So fascinating. The crescograph, this thing he invented, it magnified like the responses of plants. It showed how sensitive they are, and how interconnected everything is.
Right.
But get this, he believed that studying plants could help lessen human suffering. And modern science is like proving him right decades later.
Wow.
Yeah.
It's incredible how Yogananda blends like science, spirituality, and these amazing human stories. But he doesn't just tell stories, there's the practical stuff too.
Right.
Kriya Yoga.
Kriya Yoga. It's presented as this scientific method for controlling the life force through your breath. It's even referenced in ancient scriptures like the Bhagavad Gita.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. And his guru, Sri Yukteswar, he describes it as like the airplane route to the infinite. Like it's the fastest way there.
Wow, that's a cool way to think about it.
Yeah.
And it's not all theory. Yogananda shares these accounts of miracles. Like from when he was a kid, he manifested a boil on his arm just using the power of his words.
Whoa.
Yeah, and then there's stories about healing. And Sri Yukteswar, how he could like read people's minds and influence events. What do you think about these accounts?
It's wild, right? At first you're like, come on. But, they're showing how spirit can manifest in the physical world. The principles of yoga, mastering your mind, your energy, it can lead to like extraordinary results. These stories, they're more like metaphors for the potential we all have.
Right, like reality is way more flexible and connected than we think. And then there are Yogananda's own like profound experiences, like cosmic consciousness, where he saw everything as vibrating light.
Oh yeah, that one. It really shows how important meditation and inner transformation are to experiencing a deeper reality. Yogananda's guru, he emphasized letting go of outward longings and finding true happiness within. That message feels so important today with all the distractions and external stuff we're constantly bombarded with.
Yeah, totally. Like a reminder to shut off the noise and get back to that stillness inside. And it's not just about like personal enlightenment. Yogananda explores the connection between Eastern and Western thought. He's even tasked with writing a whole book showing the unity between Christian and Hindu scriptures.
That was like revolutionary back then.
Yeah.
Bridging two totally different traditions. He even talks about like the Son of God.
Yeah.
As this Christ consciousness. That's within all of us, not just one person.
It's such a powerful idea, this universal spirituality. And he brings it to life with stories about people like Luther Burbank, this horticulturist who had this deep spiritual understanding of nature. And then like Therese Newman, a Catholic stigmatist.
Oh, okay.
It's like spiritual truth can pop up anywhere across different traditions.
Yeah, he's not trying to convert anyone.
No.
He's showing us the unity that connects everyone who seeks truth, no matter their background.
Totally. A message of inclusivity and acceptance. And then there's Babaji,
Oh, yeah.
this Himalayan yogi who seems immortal. He just appears and disappears. And his disciples, they claim to have lived for centuries.
Babaji is like peak spiritual achievement, the embodiment of what's possible. He gives us hope. He's like, limitations are just something we made up. True freedom is out there.
His stories are, well, mind-bending. Like that time he materialized before Lahiri Mahasaya and his sister in the promise of bodily immortality.
Right.
And Yogananda's own past life connection to him. It's like another dimension. And then there's the astral and causal realms.
Yogananda talks about his experiences with his resurrected guru, Sri Yukteswar, who's like describing Hiranyaloka, this illumined astral planet where he serves as a savior. He even talks about astral and causal bodies and how they affect us.
It really makes you think about what's possible beyond this world, right? But it's amazing how Yogananda connects these mystical concepts to everyday life. He
Right.
even talks about his meeting with Mahatma Gandhi, exploring ideas of nonviolence, spiritual leadership, and how to change society.
Gandhi is like the perfect example of how to live by your spiritual principles. He showed us that true spirituality is not just about personal enlightenment.
Oh,
It's
absolutely.
about building a more just and compassionate world.
And it's not always about grand gestures either. Gandhi was big on daily spiritual practices, like the 4 daily yajnas. They're like symbolic offerings that connect us to the divine, to nature, our ancestors, and humanity. It's like a reminder that spirituality can be in every part of our lives.
Yeah, that's a beautiful way to look at it. It fits perfectly with Yogananda's message, about finding the divine in the ordinary.
Autobiography of a Yogi is truly packed with spiritual insights, crazy experiences, and practical teachings. It's clear why it's touched so many people.
It really is.
But before we dive into more specific stories, what stood out to you so far?
What gets me is how Yogananda presents these, complex ideas in such a clear way. No jargon, no fancy words. He uses stories, anecdotes, even humor
Oh, yeah.
to make these profound concepts easy to understand.
And he's so real. He shares his struggles, his doubts,
Yeah, exactly.
It makes his journey feel more human.
more authentic.
Like when he runs away to the Himalayas, dead set on finding a guru. His brother tried to bring him back, but he was determined. It shows his passion and his impulsiveness.
Oh, yeah. And even after he finds his guru, Sri Yukteswar, there's still challenges. Remember when he was so focused on his studies that he forgot about that Sanskrit course?
Mm-hmm.
And then, boom, he finds these loose Sanskrit verses just lying around like the universe was giving him a hand.
It's those little details that make the book so captivating. What about all the miracles? He talks about so many, like the resurrection of that young guy, Rama. It really makes you question what's possible.
Yeah, those stories, they're incredible. I think they're meant to, challenge how we see reality, and to open us up to the possibility of forces and laws that we might not fully understand yet.
Right. And there's all this human connection. The way he describes his father's love and support, even when they disagreed, it really shows how deep their bond was.
It reminds us that spirituality isn't about giving up our earthly ties.
Absolutely.
It's about finding deeper meaning
Right.
and bringing more awareness to those relationships.
And it goes beyond family, too. His friendships, like the one with his classmate Romesh, who helped him study, they're so heartwarming.
It shows the community is important. On the spiritual path, we don't have to do it alone. There are others walking a similar path, and we can learn from each other.
Exactly. And even when he meets people from totally different backgrounds, like Luther Burbank, that American horticulturist,
Right.
or Therese Newman,
Yes.
the Catholic stigmatist, he finds that common thread,
Right.
that spiritual seeking.
It speaks to the human need to connect with something bigger than ourselves.
Totally. And the way he describes the different ashrams and communities in India,
Oh, yeah.
like that one where the guru had been silent for 9 years and was living on a fruitarian diet,
It's incredible the diversity of spiritual practices out there.
it really makes you think about the lengths people go to.
Yeah. And it's not just about personal change. A lot of these communities are about helping others.
Yeah.
Giving food and shelter to those in need, or working to make society more fair.
Yeah, it shows that spirituality can inspire real action. It's not about hiding away from the world. It's about bringing those insights and values into your life. But even in these communities, there are some individuals who, like, stand out.
Uh-huh.
Sadasiva Brahmendra, that yogi.
Oh, yeah, his story is wild. Extreme austerities, playful miracles. He, like, broke the mold of what we think a spiritual person is.
Yeah, like that time he transported those village kids to a religious festival hundreds of miles away just by having them touch his body.
But
Crazy.
it shows how paradoxical these great saints can be. Detached yet engaged, serious but playful. It makes you think about what it really means to be spiritually advanced.
And Yogananda, he totally embraces that. He talks about his own joy, his laughter, even when things are tough. It's like a reminder that spirituality doesn't have to be all serious and self-denial.
Right. It's about finding that lightness, that humor in everything.
Yeah.
Embracing it all.
Exactly. And then there's that really powerful part of the book when his guru, Sri Yukteswar, passes away. Even though he knew it was coming, it's still heartbreaking.
Oh, yeah, it is. But then Triyuktaswara comes back, resurrected. He explains the afterlife, describes the astral and causal realms, even talks about being a savior on Hiranyaloka. I mean, come on.
It's mind-blowing. It challenges everything we think about life and death. It pushes the boundaries of what we think we understand about reality.
Yogananda's not theorizing. He's talking about his own experience of a reality beyond the physical world, giving us the glimpse into what might be possible beyond our current understanding.
It's inspiring. And a little challenging, too. It makes you consider the potential we have within us. But amidst all the amazing stories and teachings, there's this practical message. Yogananda seems to be saying we have the power to choose our destiny, to wake up to our true potential, even if we don't experience the miracles he did.
Yeah, that's why Autobiography of a Yogi is still relevant today.
Right.
It's more than just stories. It's a call to action, to go on our own journey, to discover who we are and transform.
And he gives us tools, like Kriya Yoga, to deepen our practice.
Right. It's like a roadmap to inner freedom and fulfillment. And it's for everyone, no matter who you are or what you believe.
His message of universal love and inclusivity, so powerful. It's like we're all in this web of life together. We can all experience the divine, both within us and in each other.
It really hits home, especially now. The world feels so divided. Yogananda's vision of unity and connection gives us hope, reminds us we're not alone in this.
Absolutely. Autobiography of a Yogi is a life changer. It's not just about reading it, it's about experiencing it, letting its wisdom in to change who you are.
It's a deep dive into who you really are.
Right.
A journey that's totally worth taking. As you keep exploring Yogananda's world, think about this. If, as he says, human evolution can speed up through certain techniques, what does that mean for you, for your own growth, and your understanding of the universe?
That's a great question to ponder. And remember, we've just scratched the surface. There's so much more to Yogananda's world, the saints he met, the ancient temples, the yoga schools he started. There's so much to discover.
It's a journey that truly starts within.
This deep dive has only just begun. Let's keep exploring.
There's just so much to uncover in this book, It's like every time you think you've got it, there's another layer.
It really is like a spiritual choose-your-own-adventure. Speaking of adventures, what about when he sets sail for America? He's invited to this religious congress, but he feels totally out of his depth.
It's a great example of how, even spiritual masters, they get those moments of self-doubt. I mean, it's kind of comforting to know that someone like Yogananda could feel overwhelmed too. But the cool thing is how he gets over it.
Yeah, his guru, Sri Yukteswar, had already passed away, but Yogananda still felt his presence, guiding him. He even describes hearing his voice, telling him what to say during that lecture, the battle of life and how to fight it.
And that guidance helps him connect with the audience in America, even though they come from a completely different world.
It's like a reminder that even when we're lost, there's something bigger out there looking out for us if we just open ourselves up to it. And Yogananda, he found that connection with nature in America too. That description of the first sunrise service at his hermitage in Encinitas. So beautiful.
It's powerful, right? Just that simple act of observing nature.
Yeah.
And finding those moments of sacredness.
Yeah.
And it's not just quiet contemplation. Remember his visit to that massive dam, the Krishnaraja Sagar Dam.
Oh, yeah, that was cool. How he connects this modern marvel of engineering back to the ancient traditions of India.
Right. Showing how both can inspire that sense of awe and wonder.
It's like he's saying spirituality isn't just one thing.
Exactly. It's not limited to traditional practices.
Yeah.
It can be appreciating human ingenuity, the wonders of nature, the connections we make with others.
Speaking of connections, I was fascinated by all the different spiritual teachers and communities he encounters. The variety is just mind-blowing.
Oh yeah, from silent retreats in the Himalayas to bustling ashrams in the
Yeah.
city. Yogananda really dives into all sorts of traditions,
Yeah.
each one with its own perspective on reaching enlightenment.
What about that ashram where the guru had been silent for 9 years and only ate fruit?
Oh yeah, that one was intense. It
Oh.
shows how dedicated some people are,
Yeah, the extremes they'll go to. And it's not just about personal transformation. A lot of these communities are focused on helping others, feeding the hungry,
Yeah.
sheltering the homeless, working to create a fairer society.
Oh, right. It's like putting spirituality into action.
Yeah, showing compassion. It's not about escaping the world. It's about bringing those values into it.
Yeah.
But even within those communities, you have individuals who really stand out.
Definitely.
What about Sadasiva Brahmendra, that yogi?
Oh, he's a classic. Extreme in his practices.
Yeah.
Playful. And then there are the miracles. He just defies our expectations of what a spiritual person is.
Like that time he transported all those kids to a festival miles away, just by having them touch him.
It's wild.
Totally.
It really shows how paradoxical these great saints can be. Detached but involved, serious but with a sense of humor. It makes you think about what it truly means to be spiritually advanced.
And Yogananda, he embodies that too, right? He talks about joy, laughter, even when things are rough. It's like spirituality doesn't have to be all doom and gloom.
Exactly. Finding that lightness and humor, it's important. Embrace it all.
Exactly. And then there's that really poignant moment when his guru, Sri Yukteswar, passes away. He knew it was coming, but it's still such a loss.
Yeah. But then Sri Yukteswar comes back, resurrected, explaining the afterlife, talking about the astral and causal realms, even his role as a savior on this illumined astral planet.
It really makes you rethink everything you thought you knew about life and death.
Right. It pushes those boundaries of our understanding.
It's like Yogananda's not just guessing. He's talking about what he experienced.
Right.
A reality that goes beyond what we can see and touch. It opens up so many possibilities.
It's inspiring and challenging at the same time.
It is. But through all the incredible stories and teachings, there's this core message, right? That we have the power to choose our path, to awaken to our true potential. We don't have to wait for a miracle.
I think that's why people still love this book.
Yeah.
It's not passive. It's a call to action, to change, to grow, to become who we're meant to be.
And he gives us tools to do it, like Kriya Yoga.
It's a practical guide to inner freedom. And it's for everyone.
His message of love and inclusivity, it's so important, especially in a world that feels so divided. He reminds us that we're all connected, all part of something bigger.
Yeah, it gives you hope.
Autobiography of a Yogi is a book that can truly change you. It's not just about reading the words, it's about letting them sink in, letting them transform you.
It's a journey inward, a journey worth taking. And as you keep reading, remember this. If, like Yogananda says, we can speed up our evolution, what does that mean for you, for your growth, and how you understand the universe?
It's something to really think about. And remember, we've only just begun to explore this incredible book. It's wild to think about how many lives this book has touched. What do you think it is about Autobiography of a Yogi that keeps people coming back to it?
Well, it's got those incredible stories, right? And those really deep teachings. But I think it's also Yogananda himself. His journey. He's so relatable. He talks about his struggles, his doubts. He's not this perfect guru up on a mountaintop. He's human.
Totally.
Yeah.
It makes it okay for us to be right where we are on our own path, with all our imperfections and everything, and still be striving for something more. He talks a lot about finding a guru, a spiritual guide. Do you think everyone needs that to grow spiritually?
That's a tough one. I mean, Yogananda's own life was completely changed by his guru, but he also talks about that inner voice, that inner guidance. It's about finding what works for you, whether it's a teacher or a tradition or, learning to listen to that quiet part of yourself. Meditation, reflection, things like that.
It's like he's saying there's no one right way. Just keep seeking and trust your gut. And he definitely pushes us to think outside the box. His descriptions of those other realms, like the astral and causal ones and life after death, and the idea that we can consciously evolve, It's mind-blowing.
It definitely shakes things up. It makes you question everything you thought you knew.
Yeah.
But that's part of what makes it so exciting. It's like, whoa, what if there's way more to life than we realize?
It's like he's opening up all these possibilities. And there are the amazing stories and mystical experiences, but he's also really grounded, He shows us how to live with purpose, to serve others. It's like spirituality woven into everyday life. through simple acts of kindness and compassion.
It reminds us that true spirituality isn't just about, like, your own enlightenment. It's about giving back.
Yeah.
It's about recognizing that we're all interconnected and extending that love and compassion to everyone and everything.
And I think that's what makes Autobiography of a Yogi so powerful. It's this call to wake up to who we truly are, to embrace life fully, and to live with purpose, with a sense of connection that goes way beyond just ourselves.
It's a journey to a deeper understanding of who you are, the universe, and that divine spark we all carry inside.
Beautifully said. This deep dive has really just scratched the surface of this amazing book. There's so much more to explore, so many insights to uncover. But as you continue your own exploration, remember what Yogananda said. The lost paradise is quickly regained through divine meditation.
It's not about running away from the world. It's about changing ourselves, becoming a force for good, bringing more light and love and understanding to everything we do.
So well said. Keep diving, keep questioning, and keep seeking that truth that resonates deep inside you. This is just the beginning.